Welcome to the Inside Out podcast. I'm Michelle, a life designer coach, nutritional therapist, leader in run fitness, and the host of the Inside Out podcast. My aim is to bring wisdom and experiences from inspirational people, fellow entrepreneurs, and from within my own life journey, supporting you around the globe to elevate your health and well-being and achieve the life you want to achieve. Just before we dive into this week's phenomenal interview, I just want to let everybody to know that I am offering a free wellness audit. So if you would like to take this opportunity for a free wellness audit, then please go to my website, book a discovery call with me, and we can connect. This week, we are speaking to Helen Pollard. Helen is part of my local community and running club. Helen is a working mum and has a beautiful husband and children. And Helen will be speaking to us about her decision why she wanted to learn to run, her running journey, challenges faced, and the amazing achievements she has accomplished and yet to accomplish. So without further ado, could everybody put their hands together and welcome Helen to the show? Woo! Helen, how are you doing?
Yeah, hi Michelle. I'm all right, thank you.
Okay, so to get started, for all our listeners, could you share a bit about yourself and what inspired you to take up running, especially if it was something new?
Yeah, so I'm 38 years old and I'm a mum to three children. I've got Holly, 11, Lily, 10, and Jude, who's 6. Before having children, I was pretty active. I went to the gym, fitness classes, I did regular horse riding. And then life just really seemed to get too busy to fit any of that in. I still went for regular walks with friends, but I just wanted something that was more of a challenge. And I quite fancied running. I tried running in the past on my own, but I just never really got into it. I started running at the local running track and was told by one of the coaches there, Angeline, so who also coaches at Gade Valley Harriers, about the Learn to Run course that they were doing. And as you know, Angeline's got loads of energy and enthusiasm, but it really didn't take much to persuade me. It was just sort of the opening that I'd been looking for, so I just jumped at the chance to get involved.
Okay, so we first met, as you've just mentioned, through the Learn to Running group, which I have to say is a phenomenal course that we do run locally, and I'm sure they have Learn to Run courses throughout the country. And I suppose really I've seen you grow and I've seen everybody else that's undertaken it grow. But what role did the running group play in your running journey then?
So the role of the Learn to Run group was absolutely huge, and I can honestly say without it, I wouldn't be running. So the coaches, Ed, Rob, and Ange, they were absolutely fantastic. And by meeting once a week, it really gave me the basis for a routine, but it gave me accountability as we all sort of reported back to each other, sort of to let each other know if we completed our homework runs and how we were getting on and things like that. And it also stopped me trying to like jump ahead and burn out. We were told really clearly in the beginning we had signed up to do this course and to do the course, not think, oh, that's a bit easy at the moment, I could run a bit further than that. It was, made quite clear we should really stick to sort of the way it was being sort of laid out for us. And everyone was just so supportive. Other members of the running club would come and join our sessions to encourage us all. But really, the Learn to Run, it was just the beginning, and the support and guidance carried on through. When we completed our first 5K, we were welcomed into the main club, and yeah, everyone was just really lovely and enthusiastic.
I think the important point just to touch on for our listeners there is, like with many of my clients, okay, life gets the better of them, kids come in, and is where do you fit it in? And as your children get older, so certainly it was a juggling act for me and my husband when my kids were like younger. Now that they're older, they kind of get that. And I think this is the time where you make a decision, regardless of whether or not you've got children or not. You make that decision, which you made, to have some quality time for you. And that is really, really important, because not only then are you feeling more accomplished yourself, you are more engaged with your children, your family, your relationships, because you've actually taken, and it's not selfish, just some time for you. to invest in you. And I think that's really, really an important point. You made that decision to invest the time in you, and you have certainly come and seen the benefits of doing so.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I suppose, were there any initial challenges when you first started running?
Well, so the main one was I was just sore all the time. My legs just hurt. And I guess I'd just been using muscles that I either never used before or not used for a long time. But it would take me, you know, days to get over just one little run. And thankfully that has eased quite a lot. Don't get me wrong, I still do get, sort of sore muscles from time to time, but not not all the time now. Just when I've sort of really pushed myself. But as well as that, it didn't take me long to realise that not every run is going to be a good run. So you can run one day and everything feels great and it goes perfectly, and a week later you can do exactly the same run, everything can feel exactly the same, and yet for some reason it just feels so much tougher. And I think that took me, a little while to kind of sort of get my head around and realise that it's okay to have a bad run.
Yeah, and I think that's, first of all, have you been introduced to Epsom salts? That is a staple for anybody doing physical exercise where they're finding sore muscles. I think that's a really important point, because running alone has lots of benefits. It has mental health benefits, it can have weight loss benefits, it can really elevate yourself. However, I think running, and like with one of our previous podcasts with Teresa and Vic, who are ultra runners, it's the mental resilience. Running teaches you resilience. And equally, I can relate to that, because it's, and when we look at people as a whole, even though your activity is running, it's the stresses that are going around it. So a bad run could be because, quite frankly, you've had a really tough week at work or with the kids, or you haven't slept well, or you haven't actually eaten greatly. And sometimes it's just, you've got to have the compassion for yourself, and listening to your body. And I think that's something, as you move forwards and you've demonstrated with running or any activity, listening to your body is really, really key. And I know I can certainly relate it. I did a rep session on my own yesterday morning. Previously, 4 weeks ago, smashed it. Yesterday and today, I have been in so much pain. It was not where I wanted to be. But I thought, do you know something? The way we view things like a bad run is, one, you've done it. And two, actually, it's better than sitting at home. So even if it is a bit slower, you've done it. Give yourself a pat on the back, but also equally just look at surrounding and go, okay, what's my learnings from it? So that is just absolutely beautiful. But the fact you've recognized that is beautiful. So a lot of people, so to form a habit, it's between 21 and 30 days. So a lot of people start with a lot of enthusiasm. Yeah, I'm going to be running. And then we drop off. So how did you stay motivated during your running journey? As it can be very hard.
Yeah, so I think in the beginning, during the Learn to Run, I was just really worried that if I missed a run, I wouldn't be able to keep up with everybody. So I guess it was just fear that kept me motivated in the beginning, fear of not completing the course. So I don't think I missed one homework run throughout the whole session, and I turned up to sort of every of our all of our weekly meets. But also everyone on the Learn to Run course, I think I said we're sort of on a WhatsApp group together, and people would update each other as to how they're doing, share their little Stravas and things like that, and seeing other people sort of complete theirs gave me enthusiasm and motivated me to do mine as well.
That's beautiful, because it's, again, building your community, that support network. And as you mentioned earlier, it's accountability. You have somebody to go back to. You're not being accountable just to you. You're part of a team. And I think
Yeah.
that's, when you're part of a community and part of a group, it's the teamwork that helps support and motivate you, and particularly sharing stories. Even to some of the most experienced runners in our running group, my husband being one of them. Okay, he's got stories where it's just, no, I've been running a marathon, bombed out. And you know, it is normal, it's natural. So it's really having that accountability. So let's talk a bit more about the practical side of stuff, right? I spend more money on shoes, okay, running trainers, than I do actual normal shoes. Okay, so did you find the whole concept of running gear, shoes daunting? How did you overcome it?
So no, I don't think I really found it daunting. I mean, we were given really good advice on running shoes and pointed in the direction of sort of some good running shops that could help, do gait analysis and things like that. And as for the rest of the gear, I'm a shopper, Michelle. I like to shop. So I think I would say I've worked on a trial and error basis. I've got so many pairs of running leggings. Half of them don't stay up, so they don't get worn. That's what I mean by trial and error. But the other half are good, and I wear them time and time again. So yeah, I've just sort of worked through and found what's good for me.
I think that's quite important because it is trial and error. Doing my first ultra, I did a load of research, bought one pair of shoes, didn't really think about the time I was doing my ultra, ended up buying another trail pair of
Yeah.
shoes. And obviously next year I'm like doing a new trail marathon. And I'm like, oh, I've just brought a new pair of road running shoes. I wonder if I could stretch to another pair of trail, which would mean I'd have about 6 pairs in total of
Yeah.
running shoes. And I'm like, I don't even own a pair of boots, that many, you know. um, so I remember your running graduate ceremony was to do your first part run. Can you
Yeah.
share some memories and feelings of that event?
I was so nervous. I mean, really, really nervous. So I was checking the route we were running. I was checking the parking situation, time to arrive. Even deciding, sort of, should I eat breakfast? Should I just have a banana before I go? What should I do? I overthought the whole thing. That's just me. That's just what I do. I overthink things. But when I got there in the morning, I had a really, really lovely surprise because Sarah, who's a great friend of mine, she hadn't done the Learn to Run course, but she had been doing Couch to 5K just off the app off her own. And I didn't realize she was doing. She knew I was doing the Learn to Run course, but I didn't realize she was doing Couch to 5K. So she turned up that morning to do her first official 5K as well. So that was really, really nice surprise. And I think that distracted me from what we were about to do as well. So that was helpful. But then also lots of the members of our running club had offered to come and buddy up with us Learn to Runners for our first 5K. And my lovely friend Laura, who so she's also a member of the club, and we've known each other since our oldest kiddies were at nursery. So she said she would come and buddy me. She talked to me the whole way round, distracted me from the running. I think I chatted back probably for the first half, and then probably the second half I was, how much further, how much further, how much further. But my husband, my kids had come to watch me. Other club members were there to cheer us on. Like anybody who finished before had waited at the finish line to cheer, and it went perfectly. When I say about some runs just going really well, this run just went really well, and I felt fantastic. And when I got to the finish, I could see my husband Chris, and he just looked so proud of me, and it was just such an amazing feeling.
That is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I've also I coached my friend. She did Couch to 5K on her own, and I took her to the local park run, the same one that you did.
Yeah.
And again, like you, just plodded along. I was chatting all the way around, and then she was just dead silence. But the beauty of, I suppose, the people in the community you were with is that we love to talk. We will talk about
Yeah.
rubbish, okay? And clearly we're also, if that is getting to somebody's head, we're like, can you just shut up? Okay, please, you're doing my head in. So I think that's again importance about the community, feeling yourself, to be quite honest. But to bottle up that feeling, the smile on your face was, if I could have had a photograph and you could just put that on your wall, so that when things are getting tough, that is the most amazing sort of like feeling that you can get. And sometimes you just need to tap into a previous happy
Yeah.
memory in order to keep going. So as I said, I've known you, and I was just like, I've been amazed at your journey. So do tell my listeners, how did you go from first 5K, which by the way, not a plug because I don't get paid for this, but the 5K park runs are all free. really easy to access, get a barcode, and the community spirit of wherever you are. And I have done some when I've been away, has been phenomenal. So if anybody is thinking about doing a run of some sort, a park run would be a very good one. But how did you go from that first 5K, which is 3 miles, to more of an extended distance?
So for one thing, I went slowly. I mean, I'm not a fast runner, and to stop getting frustrated with the fact I'm not fast is I just thought I'd just work on my distance. I'd just start building my distance up. So I was adding about a mile a week to my longest run of the week, and about 2 months after running my first 5K, I signed up to a 15K trail run. I think I was a bit naive about what I was signing up to. Probably, had I known what I was signing up to beforehand, I probably wouldn't have done it. So it's probably good I didn't know. But again, my amazing friend Laura, she said when she found out I'd signed up to it, she said she was going to sign up and she was going to run it with me, and she stayed with me for the whole course. I mean, I'm certain, Michelle, without her there, I wouldn't have made it round. I think you probably know whether I don't know if you've ever done the Ashridge trail run, but
Yeah.
the top of the first hill, there's a cafe just up there, isn't there? So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if Laura wasn't with me, you would have all just found me in the cafe at the end of the run. I don't think I would have gone any further. But I didn't. I made it round. She gave me loads of guidance and encouragement that day. She fed me she fed me bananas. She also fed me cereal bars, and I have to put out a little warning here. I know you run with Laura from time to time. If she ever gives you a cereal bar mid-run, don't take it. It was the driest cereal bar. 3 miles later, I was still chewing on that baby. It wasn't going anywhere, and we do still laugh about it. But yeah, that would be the warning. But it was brilliant. It was a really good run, and I was so glad I did it. I was so glad I got to the end of it.
Did you actually recognise, and I think this is important because road running to trail running is very, very different.
Yeah.
Um, very
I didn't
different.
know. I didn't know it was different before that. I did afterwards.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think you've got to really home in on that fact because you have gone from literally 3 miles on the road, relatively flat, to it's hills, it's different terrain. You're using muscles that you never knew that you had in your feet, your core muscles, because you're trying to balance on an uneven surface. And you literally went from 3 miles to 10 miles like that. And that is phenomenal for your running
yeah,
journey.
yeah. I mean, I was before I actually sort of set off on that run. A few people did say to me, "Hike the hills. Don't try and run those hills because they're steep as
Yeah.
well." And that was really good advice that day because I think had I tried to run up that first hill, I would have burnt out completely.
Yeah. And so I've done both road running and trail. I like the trails, I like the beauty, but yeah, sometimes you can walk up faster the hills than you can
Yeah,
actually run up them, and that's
yeah,
your opportunity to eat. So
yeah,
note for your next one.
yeah.
So how has your perceptions of running evolved since you began? I mean, you have done the two extremes. Okay. So how's it, evolved your perceptions of running?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the main one is I kind of just assumed that everybody who ran had always been runners. People just run from childhood into adulthood, and yeah, they've always been runners. But the more I speak to people, the more I realise that so many people get into running much later.
Mm.
At any age. 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. People are turning up at all ages and just yeah, getting into it and loving it. So I think that was a really good one. Um, I don't know how have my perceptions of running evolved since I began. Just I think
I
it's
think
a lot more. Go on.
I think probably that's the main one is that a lot of people, and perhaps from me listening to your journey today, a lot of people think that if you're running, you're a runner, and actually it's not. Everybody has the capacity to learn to run, regardless, because it's 20% fitness and 80% mentality. But I think the perception is that you don't have to be fast.
Yeah,
And
that's a really good
don't,
one. Yeah.
it's just the perception is, oh, you have to be fast, you have to be a Mo Farah, and actually you don't. There is plenty of people that shuffle, walk, run, and have done a amount of different distances. So the perception is, no, you do not have to be doing your marathon and get a particular time, which is what most people in terms of running come to. And I think it can get competitive. I think yes, it can. Certainly, I know the males in our running group tend to get very competitive, and I have to tell them sometimes, just particularly because I'm married to one of them, that to pipe down because it can be quite daunting. But I think from listening to you, the perception is actually give it a try because
Yeah.
it's not as bad as what social media or your upbringing or your beliefs are about.
Yeah.
And certainly I come from parents that were not sporty at all. And I do wonder how I managed to be their child when I do running as much as I do. So I think that's really, an important perception to say to
Yeah.
everybody that is listening to this and maybe toying with the idea that actually just go ahead and do it because you can take it at your own pace.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
there's a lot of talk about running and mindset. So, did you find any benefit from that? How's that, helped with you in your running journey and then taken it out into everyday life?
Yeah, I think it has a massive benefit on sort of my mental well-being, sort of, and things like that. I think it gives me time for me and to clear my mind of the challenges that I'm facing, either small daily challenges or sort of bigger ones. But it just gives me space.
I think that's quite key. One of the questions that I tend to ask the coaching clients that I have is whether or not they're a morning or evening person and when they're most creative. I'm a morning person and I get up before my kids arrive because half the time that is my time. But then I go, right, when I get home, I go, right, Harry, have you got X, Y, and Z ready for school? Because it just clears that mind to help you process ready for the day.
Yeah.
So it's been phenomenal listening to you. I suppose, what was the most surprising benefit out of your Learn to Run course or your running journey?
New friends, I would say. Everyone on the Learn to Run course was so lovely. We all get on so well, still run together, update each other on what we're doing, and the wider club as well. Everyone's so supportive and friendly. But there's, quite a few people that I've run with that I didn't know before that I would call genuine friends now.
Mm,
So yeah, really, 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 really good benefit that I wasn't expecting. Are all running
yeah.
clubs like that, or is it just ours?
I can't answer. What I do know is certainly for the female side of things, I've run with loads of different runners, and you resolve most of your work challenges, marital challenges, kids challenges.
Yeah.
You can actually sit down and cry, which I've done quite a lot recently. You pee in the open air. I have been throwing up as well, so that's kind of like nice as well. You see people with no makeup on, so I could say actually as part of a running community you do get the genuine friends because they have seen you in the naked flesh, okay, and your hair's like electrified because you've just got out of bed and you can't bother to dampen it down.
Yeah.
So even from my own experience, and I know certainly me and you have connected, and we're always there to support each other and the community, and that spirit is just, it really helps with your holistic well-being. Beautiful. So if people were considering, okay, to do a bit of running or starting to run, what would be your advice to them?
Well, I've noticed there's quite a few groups offering Couch to 5Ks and Learn to Run type courses. So I'd say if there's one near them, then I'd highly recommend joining one. You don't have to run with others all the time, but I just think it's really good to have that option. And I think it's a good way to get started.
And if people are really hesitant and going, I'm still not convinced, what would you say to them?
I mean, how many times have you heard someone say that the hardest step is the one out the door? It's true, isn't it? You've just got to do it. Once you've taken that step, that's it. You've done the biggest challenge. It gets easier after that.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I suppose you've come this far, amazing journey. We have gone from short distances to what I would class as a really long distance and different terrain. What's your journey looking like ahead now?
Well, I mean, I do just really enjoy going for runs, Michelle, and I don't think I need to be signed up to a race to make me run. I know some people do kind of need to have a target. But I would like to get up to a half marathon distance. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. If I could get a little bit faster, that would be good as well. But my main thing is just, yeah, increasing my distance. When I get to half marathon, I think I'll feel like I've ticked the next box.
Um, and just, I think being obviously a running coach myself is consistency. And I know that I do not like winter training at all, which is why I generally do most of it in the morning because I've got it out of the way. And I see the benefits because I'm a heat person. So then it comes to the summer and I'm bounding along, and it's just that consistency, just keep chipping away. And then
Yeah.
it trains your body for when you are really feeling that elevated feeling. So I suppose just before we wrap up, is there any sort of heartfelt messages, reflections that you want to share with anybody?
I mean, if I could sort of sum it up, I suppose I'd say that I think running is great, but running with others, running with friends is even better.
Beautiful. Definitely, you can see that you've achieved a personal goal, but equally the benefits of holistic well-being and that community and that support has taken you to the next level. So thank you for
Absolutely.
your
Thank
time.
you. Cheers, Michelle.
So for my friends, I hope you have found this show useful and inspired to undertake a new running journey. In the show notes, I've included my website details because don't forget, I am offering a free wellness audit to everybody. So book your discovery call. If you've liked this episode, please make sure you subscribe to the show, download, share, and follow me on social media. And as always, I am grateful and thank you for listening because you've taken that step to elevate your health and well-being from the inside out.